Hello everyone and welcome back to Mystic Tides Tarot. I wanted to do a pick a card reading for Valentine's Day, but I did not want to exclude people that were single. So this is kind of like a gift from me to anybody that's single that wants to, know a little bit more about love in their life. And this may not necessarily be what you expect. Okay, so let's get started. The deck that I'm using so you can pick your pile is the Cowgirls and Aliens Oracle. And I don't know, it's just the type of energy that's vibing with me right now. So for the first pile, we have the Pilot. I will seek out inspiration. That's for someone who is not going to stay seated waiting for something to arrive. They are going to take the initiative, and that's something that they pride themselves on. Pile 2, the Outlaw. I will turn and face the consequences. This is another ballsy bitch. This is someone who is not afraid. Whoa, there's a third one. This is someone who's not afraid to fight when they need to for their cause, okay? And then pile 3, we have the Prospector. And that is, I will find joy in the process. Now, this is someone who understands that life is not all sunshine and rainbows, but they sure as hell know how to romanticize the shit out of a situation. And that's one of their superpowers. So these are your piles 1, 2, and 3. Timestamps will be down below as usual. And if you're curious beforehand, I will be using the Goddess of Love Tarot for this. See you in your pile. Okay, so pile number 1, you chose the Pilot. You are someone that has a dominant energy and you're not shy about it either. Now let's see what the Goddess of Love Tarot has to tell us about your love life. And just as like, I guess, a little precursor, this deck is definitely one of those decks that I prescribe to a very specific energy. It's almost like a deity deck, but this is like all of the goddesses. So I feel like the goddesses' energy through this deck more than anything. The Sovereign, of course you are. 4 of Swords, that's more like the advice. 9 of Swords, that makes sense. We have the Crone of Cups, Lust, the High Priestess, wow, the 9 of Cups. Okay, so automatically we already knew you were someone who knows how to take charge and is not shy about taking charge and knows how to navigate their life pretty well. You understand what it takes to make your world work. And maybe that's one of the reasons why it's not the easiest to find a partner, because you're very sure of who you are and not everybody is, number 1. Number 2, even if somebody is, it might just not be a good match for you. And that's okay. It's not advice that, it's not trying to say like you have to change by any means. It's just kind of like reasserting what you should already know about yourself to make sure you're in the right pile is kind of like what I'm trying to do here. But we have the Sovereign. The Sovereign. Wow. This is the Emperor card. So I think it's really interesting. The Pilot is dominant, like I said, and then the Sovereign being the Emperor card in your traditional tarot deck is that leadership energy. Like I said, the Pilot, literally the title, but also the Sovereign. And then who does the Sovereign represent? It's the Emperor. It's this leader. It's so much hardcore leadership energy. And so, like I said, if you don't feel like that applies to you, then maybe check out one of the other piles, because this is definitely someone who does not play about their power, and they know they're in power. They know the power that they have and that they hold. This is not a mystery to them, okay? So it's kind of like an energy check with that first card. Then we have the 4 of Swords and the 9 of Swords. The 4 of Swords is this card of you need to relax a little bit. Doesn't mean that you need to change who you are. It just means that you need to take a break sometimes instead of going gas 24/7. Because what happens when you go gas 24/7 and you ignore that advice of the 4 of Swords to take a breather, to let that mind rest, you can end up in a 9 of Swords type of energy or situation. And the 9 of Swords I hate using this as the keyword, but that's the keyword, you know, is nightmares or anxiety or this like mental dread that you feel kind of looming over you either a lot or more often than you think is normal. And it comes from needing to take that pause, needing to take that break. And it's really hard, especially when you put so much pressure on yourself. You know, you are the fucking sovereign. You are the leader. You are the pilot. What do you mean that you need to take a break? I understand what that feels like because I've felt that energy and I've been like that a lot of my own life. But I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but if you don't lean into that lesson, the lesson's gonna lean into you. Either way, it's gonna happen, basically. So take that with a grain of salt, you know. We do have the Crone of Cups, followed by Lust, then the High Priestess and Knight of Cups. So it's very interesting because I see the top row as like this heavy, like very forceful energy, very like masculine, yang type of energy. And then the bottom row is like the complete other side of that. It's the Crone of Cups, which is the Queen of Cups, the Water of Water, which is basically saying this is the feminine of the feminine. Then we have Lust, which is the Strength card. It's kind of like alluding to the fact that this is costing you strength, like to be able to step more into this softer, maybe more less aggressive energy, because the feminine is strong. So it doesn't mean weakness. Okay, let's clear that up, because a lot of times we're thinking that to take a step back, to rest, to try to just watch things go in front of you means that you're weaker or that you can't. But it's a choice that you're making. And choices come from people that are empowered. And empowered people are not weak. Okay? So then we also have the High Priestess. And the High Priestess is the keeper of secrets. The one who knows the knowledge that others seek and is holding that knowledge. She is the gatekeeper of that knowledge. Which is also kind of like saying, like, everything that you've done to get to where you're at, it is not for nothing. And it's not going to be wasted or thrown into the garbage just because you decide to take a bit of a break or to be a little softer with yourself. Now, I want to go back to the Strength card because I think that the Strength card also appeared to show you and to explain to you that the reason that it's difficult for you to do this is because it's not in your natural nature, perhaps. And that requires strength. And strength is not weakness, which I know is like a duh, but I really want to drive that point home because a lot of the times we get stuck in black or white thinking because that's what's worked for us. That's what it was ingrained in us. Or we've been just go, go, go all the time that we can't stop and analyze things that aren't specifically right in front of us because we don't see benefit in them. Okay. But I'm telling you right now, doing this requires strength. Strength is not weakness. So to do this is to also test your own strength, which is something that people who are constantly trying to grow and move up in life are going to do. So you're not doing nothing and you're not stepping back to be lazy. You're still doing proactive work here. It just looks different. And if you can accept this and learn how to be more of this, less of that, you are going to have a better balance in your life overall. And the Knight of Cups is like the confirmation that you're going to get what you want. Like I said, this is supposed to be a love reading, right? So it's kind of like saying, this is kind of what has been getting in your way. And it's not that it's somebody else is doing, it's your own doing. And it's not even like trying to say like, oh, you did so bad and now you're going to get punished, or, you know, the way you are is horrible. Like, I don't want you to think that I'm punishing you, scolding you, or telling you any of those things. But it's this attunement, this refinement that needs to happen in order to allow a little bit of room for your ideal partner to come in. Now, also, do not get this mistaken for settling for less. It's not about making your standards, it's not about putting your standards to the side as much as refining who you are to truly allow the ideal partner to come in. Because a lot of the times we end up in situationships or in partnerships with people that don't match us because they matched with the previous version of ourselves, right? So instead of finding someone immediately right now as you are and then changing in that process and then finding out they're no longer a match, this reading is giving you the opportunity to see where that attunement needs to be found so you're happier and you can attract the more ideal partner sooner rather than later. Okay? Because you are going to basically have your wish granted, whether it is of having an ideal partner or of being that person that attracts that ideal partner. That is being granted for you. And maybe it's even hard for you to admit that you even want a partner because you're so independent. But the partnership isn't about a crutch or having someone there to fix your problems or to soothe the burns when, life gets too hard, because that may almost even sound a little too soft for you. I'm getting that vibe. It's about building a partnership with someone that's going to make what you're trying to build either happen faster or become that much bigger. And it doesn't make it not yours, is what I'm hearing right now that you need to hear. Just because you're building something with someone doesn't mean it's not yours. But when you find the right person, that might not even cross your mind anymore. Because it will feel nice to be able to say, we did this instead of I built that. And that's all I have for you, pile one. I hope that this helped you in some way to bring clarity to your love life. And I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye. Hello, pile two. You chose the outlaw. Whoa. Of course she came out. This is my Queen Persephone. Okay, so the outlaw. You're someone who doesn't like to follow the rules, which is very funny because this is the balance card, which is also the justice card. So there's this kind of like duality that you have because Queen Persephone, she spends half of the year with her mom, Demeter. That's the spring, that's the summer. And then when it comes to fall and winter, she goes down into the underworld to spend another 6 months with her boo Hades. So this is very interesting. It's kind of like you don't like to follow the rules, but you find yourself in a situation where it feels like you're following the rules and you don't know how to feel about it. This is so funny. This is so funny. This reminds me of a personal experience, actually. But yeah, so in regards to your love life, so you are technically single, but I feel like somebody else is in the mix. And perhaps this is like almost like either they're waiting on you or you have the most power here to decide whether you stay or whether you go. And that's neither good nor bad. This is just like the status of the situation. So let's read more into this situation. I feel like you almost need a decision spread. So why don't we fucking do that? Yeah, let's fucking do it. Okay, so if you decide like, I'm going to be solo dolo, I'm going to ride on my own. What's the highest outcome for that? Of course. Oh, this is so funny. Pile one got the sovereign. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is if you decide to go solo. Now, before I get into that, let's go if you decide to, get tied down for a bit in the best way possible. Highest possible outcome. Let's find out. 8 of Wands. Witch of Cups. 3 of Swords. 7 of Swords. Okay, one more. Let's do this one, actually. The Empress. Okay. Okay. So if you stay single, the sovereign, you're literally sovereign, right? Nobody is going to be your boss, your master. And I use those words because I feel like those are the words that make sense to you. Because I'm not trying to say that people who have a partner become the slaves of that partner, or that they're not sovereign. There are plenty of relationships, partnerships that are sovereign. But for you, you feel that the only way to guarantee that, your autonomy, the only way to guarantee that is if you stay single. And you're not technically wrong, But then we have the 5 of Wands, Crone of Wands. This fire energy coming up. And even the sovereign has, flames. So there's a lot of like passionate energy here. And I'm not even talking about the love kind. I'm talking about passionate energy towards your goals and fulfilling what you want to make happen. despite whether you're following rules or not, you know? You're a very fiery person, and you may even be a little rebel in nature. You may be someone who has political views that in the past people would see as radical, and maybe now people are starting to think, hey, maybe like there was something to what she was saying or to what they were saying, you know? But Five of Wands shows me, you know, this conflict energy. Like, you're not afraid to fight a little bit more if it means that you're free. And that's commendable. Then we have the Crown of Wands. This is a very charismatic person. The Queen, or the Crown of Wands, as it comes out here. Actually, sorry, the Crown is the king. Again, with the, like, I point to the Sovereign because the Sovereign is the Emperor. And when it comes to the court cards, the kings are kind of like sub the Emperor. Not saying that they're under, but they like, I feel like they unite all the four kings of the suits. I feel like they unite to create the Emperor. So we see like kingly energy again. Even though, you know, like this deck is for the goddesses. So we have all of these like goddess, women, femme archetypes shown in the artwork. But yeah, we have this, like, you're willing to fight to stay free. And the King of Wands is this charismatic, knows how to talk their way into and out of situations. Like, this is exactly what you want when you're trying to win somebody over to your side. And maybe if you stay single, you feel that you retain your freedom. You continue to have your freedom. You can fight whenever you need to for the things that you need to have or want to have or you believe in. And then you also get to talk to anybody you want to in whatever way you want to get what you need in life. And maybe for some reason to you, being in a relationship is not that, or you feel like that would be taken away from you. So let's look at if you were to solidify a partnership, or if you're already in some kind of like a talking phase or situationship and you take it the next step, what's the highest possible outcome here? And this stuff right here, this is heavy. And this is so beautiful at the same time. Now, I want to point out something real quick. We have the Sovereign here, and then we have the Empress here. They're like the divine couple, right? So if you stay single, you're leaning more towards like your masculine side. But if you step into the relationship, you're leaning more into your feminine side. And something tells me that even though you may be a woman, a girl, a female representing, or maybe someone who's maybe not super into the gender binary, you lean harder into this because this is safer in our society than this. And I'm here to tell you that's totally valid. A lot of us do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we want to be able to cross over every now and then to be able to get the most out of life, because we all have all energies within us, and just staying on one side will not give us everything that we seek if what we're seeking hasn't been attainable yet. So it's kind of like if what you're doing hasn't been working to get to where you want to go, then you need to try something different. So that's kind of like what this is going on. And I mean, like you said, from the beginning, we pulled the balance card. It's the two scales, right? The feminine, the masculine, or like the more dominant energy versus the more receptive energy, that softness versus that hardness, that I'm going to make the moves as quick as I can and I'm going to be forceful versus I think I might wait and see, or maybe the way that I make my moves is going to be a lot more behind the scenes than obviously aggressive and for everyone to witness, okay? And Persephone herself, like I said in the beginning, she has a dualistic nature. So there's a lot of duality going on in this reading. And then I did do the decision spread, so that as well. But I just wanted to point out how these are literally representing what I'm talking about. Now, just focusing on this bottom row, we have the Eight of Wands. This is like fast energy. So it's kind of like saying, as soon as you make this decision to be with someone else and take a step back, maybe, perhaps, be a little softer with the way that you approach life, things are going to feel like they're changing really fast for you. And this is neither like good or bad. It's just the nature of the energy. Then we go into Witch of Cups, which is the Knight of Cups. And once again, the Knight, all of the Knights are movement. So it's kind of like things are going to move fast. Things are going to continue to move, but they're going to be more of like within the emotional, like relationship realm. This is not a bad thing either. This is just kind of like showing you like the way things can unfold. Then we have the Three of Swords. Now, the Three of Swords is what is notoriously known as the heartbreak card. And a lot of people really shy away from this card. They think it's like a bad omen if you get it in a relationship spread. But the Three of Swords could be all kinds of heartbreaks. And in this situation, I don't feel that this is that person breaking your heart. I feel this is you realizing things and having to face things that perhaps you would not have been able to face had you stayed single. And you could be like, okay, well, that sounds bad, right? But if you're someone who's seeking growth and who's seeking to be out of comfort, we're going to have to face certain uncomfortable truths about ourselves, other people as well. But this one I feel like is more about you. And we're going to have to heal our own hearts, hopefully with the help of this partnership, right? To be able to become that empress. Now, Seven of Swords. It's interesting because Three of Swords, Seven of Swords. Three of Swords is known as the heartbreak card, and the Seven of Swords to a lot of people is seen as like the sneaky energy card. And if you were asking, is so-and-so cheating on me, and this comes out, that's going to be a yes, okay? But in this context, I'm telling you, that's not what this is. In this context, the Three of Swords and the Seven of Swords are more about you. More about you realizing some truths that might break your heart a little bit about yourself because maybe you thought you were better than that or you were stronger than that. And then the Seven of Swords is kind of like saying you're going to want to find ways to not feel this, but you're going to have to step into it. Just as forcefully as you know how to be being single, you need to face that bravery towards yourself and the truths that might be harder to face when you are in a relationship and what that means for you, because that's going to help you master the other side of the coin, the other scale, you know, that opposite of where you have been, because you know how to be strong and independent and single. You know how to fight for what you want, and you know how to talk your way into situations, out of situations. So you're mastering this side, but to come down here and master this side, it's going to be some work. And that's not a bad thing. Okay. That is not a bad thing. I feel like I've told you everything that I can tell you up to this point. The choice is yours. This is also about choices, right? Like, what choice? Are you going to want to stay single a little bit longer? Do you want to step into this situationship, into this relationship? And maybe it's not them. Maybe it's the next one. But I'm telling you, this is in the cards, literally. Because when you stay too long in one side, eventually you're going to come looking for answers. And the answers are going to point you to stepping out of where you've been into some place that is a little more unknown. And it's going to come with lessons that are going to be for your greater and highest good. Okay, babe? So I think that's all I got for you, pile 2. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Hello, pile 3. I have a feeling your energy is going to be dramatically more different. More different. Okay, that sounds... Okay, we're starting again. Your pile is very different than the last two piles. The last two piles were somewhat similar, but yours is a little bit more like fun energy, I feel. Let's see what we get. For your love life, pile 3. Oh. The Void. You know what? Every single pile, the first card that comes out has been a major arcana. I love that. Okay, so the Void. 0. This is also known as the Fool card in a traditional, like, Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. Just in case you're familiar with that. That's, like, the Fool card. But this is really focusing more on the meaning, not of the Fool taking that leap of faith, right? This is more focusing on the aspect or the meaning of this card in terms of this is before anything. So the potential is extremely high here because nothing has been created or cemented or even set on a path. And what this tells me about you is, it's so funny because it literally, the key sentence here is, I will find joy in the process. Like, it doesn't say I'm finding joy in the process or anything like that. It says I will find joy in the process. Like, you're almost not even in the process yet. The potential. Yeah, this this makes so much sense. The Four of Wands. The Four of Wands is the card of structure. It's also the card of marriage. But I seldom ever use that as a keyword with this card because I feel like it would only apply to certain situations. But because that came out of my mouth, I feel inclined to share with you that maybe perhaps you are someone who has been thinking about marriage and or you think that you should start planning for marriage, which is a process. But you're in a place where you're so early on because this is super far ahead because you don't have someone yet. Okay. Let's see what else comes out. This is very interesting. This is very interesting. The Two of Wands. Yep. Decisions must be made still. Planning must be made more than anything. The Moon. Okay, there are certain things that we're not going to be told that you may be curious about, because this feels like very like I said, it's very much in the beginning, before the beginning actually. It's literally the egg. That's why the egg is here, because nothing is hatched. We don't know what animal is even in that egg. Like, yeah, we see snakes there, but we're not going to assume that it's a snake in the egg. That's symbolism for other things, in my opinion, here. The Four of Swords. That's like you needing to calm down a bit. Not saying you're hysterical, but like rest. You're thinking a lot. You're a thinker. And then the Six of Swords coming out. The Six of Swords is the card of leaving one space and not quite yet at the other space, which continues on that theme of the not there yet, not hatched yet, not in the process yet. This is a lot of like the same stuff. It's like ever since the Moon card came out, I feel like this energy of like not wanting to tell you a whole lot. Oh, the Six of Wands. That's a card of celebration. I think it's funny that it comes right under the Four of Wands. So it's kind of like the marriage card and stability. This is something that it seems like you crave. Then the Six of Wands is this card of celebration. So you will get what you want. You will have victory. You will be victorious. It's just not the time yet. Okay, these last two cards, let's see if we can get some more details on what you should be focusing on right now. The Hanged one. Oh my goodness. Okay, before I get into that, what's this one? Witch of Wands. These cards are funny. Okay, so the Hanged one, aka the Hanged Man or Hanged Woman in this case, or Hanged Person. This is the card that when I get it, it almost always annoys me because it means I can't do anything. It's this card of literal suspension, but also figurative. Whatever your question, your topic at hand is when this card comes out, it usually means like, you know, the 8-ball that you would shake, like, sorry, try again later. It's kind of like that. Like, right now is not the time. Right now is not the time for you to be knowing or trying to figure out when this time is going to be for you. Because no matter what's going to happen, you're going to be victorious. You're going to get that marriage that you want. But right now, you're so early on in the stages that you need to not worry about it. And you need to rest that mind. You've been thinking about it maybe more than you should have. And it's kind of causing you to be less stable emotionally, maybe even mentally, than you need to be. And this is not saying that, like I said, I used the word, I said, I'm not trying to say you're hysterical, because you're not. And the reason I think that word came through is because I'm trying to show you exactly what you aren't. Like, let's just say that this is you at like your happiest, and then this is you being hysterical. It's like you're a notch above or behind happy. And if you keep going this way of trying to figure this stuff out before there's even somebody in the picture, or even too early on when somebody's in the picture, you're gonna find yourself in turbulent waters, to say the least. And you're gonna end up using a lot of energy that would be better conserved for other tasks or for the future of what you're gonna have, okay? So right now you gotta really chill. That's another reason why the Four of Swords came out. Like, chill, take a deep breath, do more meditations, really focus on yourself and just making sure that you're good and that you're balanced and that you're happy and that you're eating the right foods and that you're grooming yourself and that you're turning in your assignments or you're doing the work that you're most proud of. Focus on that and the time will go by faster, because right now is not the time to be thinking about this. You will have it. It's in the cards, but it doesn't want to show us a whole lot about it because it's going to ruin some of the magic. And this is telling us they definitely don't want to show us, and it's not the time to show us. That's another one of those things. Now with the Witch of Wands, which is also the Knight of Wands, the Knights are movement, right? And then fire, it's like this passion. So it's kind of like saying after this period of suspension, you're going to be able to really embody a passionate version of yourself. And I don't know if you see yourself as this yet. So maybe the reason this also came out is to try to say, maybe focus on that. Focus on really opening up who that is. Who is the passionate version of you? How do you explore that by yourself before somebody hops into the picture? So that when they do hop into the picture, you know who you are. You know how to communicate your needs. And you know how to do so in a way where you don't feel awkward doing it because you know exactly who that is. And a book comes to mind right now. I don't often recommend books, but this is a book that I kind of feel like goes along with this deck very well. And it's an older book. And I don't know if you are a person who has a specific organ, reproductive organ. And if you're not, then maybe this book is not for you. But it's called Come As You Are. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Feel free to look into it if you want. But I feel like that would definitely put you in the right direction. If you have a specific type of anatomy, then that one is for you. But yeah, look it up and you'll see right away what I'm referring to. I don't want to say too much on here, but I feel like that's a journey that you're being encouraged to take. Also journey, because the Knight of Wands, the Knights are in movement. So I feel like that's a journey maybe that you're being encouraged to take. That's also going to help pass the time while this marinates. And maybe that's also the key for this union and this victory of yours to really come forward and really have like, it's cooking time. So it's ripened, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that's all I have for you, Pile 3. I wish you the best of luck and I hope you enjoyed your reading. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.